Hi, my name is Jenny.
And my name's Eury.
It's 2022, and it's the year of feeling at home, and it's the year of the bunny rabbit, at least for us here on the Conscious Cuppa podcast.
Hello, Brew Crew. Welcome back. It's season 3, episode 9. Goodness gracious already. And we've got a question for you. What has going to the park, taking a trip to the beach, and flying to the moon got to do with bunny rabbits?
Our furry friends, they're here to help us understand how this universe supports us from A to Z, from having the thought to having the thing, from wanting it to being it.
Over the course of 13 episodes, we'll be discovering the mind-blowing roadmap that works 24/7. So whether you need a new home, wonderful new job, better finances, new friends, or an intimate relationship,
whether you want to reconnect with a friend, need that bill paid, or perhaps you just want to put your feet up for the day, the Bunny Rabbit Solution has a tip for you.
We really love hearing from you, so please send in your beautiful mugshots, your answers, questions and suggestions on Twitter at Conscious Cuppa, or email us consciouscuppa@gmail.com. That is CONSCIOUSCUPPA. Special call out to Robin. Thank you so much for your picture.
Yeah,
What
he's
happened?
found his ball.
Yeah.
So he imagined something on a Monday, and by Wednesday, him and his dog Lou had found their ball. You've probably seen an image of it on your YouTube or Spotify connections, because we're up there as well.
Yeah.
Well done, flicking on fingers. You go, boy.
Fantastic.
So yeah, if you found your ball, send us a picture. Twitter, Gmail, email.
Yeah.
And Brew Crew, stay tuned to the end of the show for an Akan Easter egg. Some Ghanaian wisdom for you. But for now, we invite you
to grab a brew,
take a pew,
and let's make the impossible
come true.
Yes.
What have we got in our cup today?
So I've got chamomile tea from Cuppa, which is really mellow, and it's chilling my stomach out after drinking copious amounts of alcohol at a wedding yesterday, which is our theme today. And Jenny, what have you got in your cup?
I've had to have bog standard tea because I'm also, you can probably tell by my voice, which is usually somewhat strange, but today it's very tired as well. And yes, we were at a wedding. Teresa and Tony,
Big
congratulations.
Yeah.
And what perfect timing, because this week's episode is all about
marriage.
Number 8, which is the fence. But the theme that we're going to take from it is marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage.
From This Is Us.
Yes. So bog standard tea for me, just tea bagging, steeping. I like it. Builder's brew, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it like soup.
Yeah, she likes it orange.
Deeply. We hope you got something wonderful brewed in your cup, in your glass, in your flask.
Cheers.
So here's what we do. This season we're sharing the roadmap of life. The one that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whether you're rich or poor, good or bad, happy or sad, and whether you know it's working or not.
This pattern resembles an unfolding path that we call the Fibonacci Sequence, that tells part of a story with every step. This story begins whenever an idea comes to you. These ideas are gifts, which here on the podcast we're discovering how to accomplish. Before we continue, we invite you to take a look around you. Take a good look. Can you see any object that a person made that wasn't once imagined? Big, small, short, tall, all ideas follow the path of growth from thought to thing in your very own wonderful human imagination. And your ideas are no exception. So pick one and let's get in the lift of life.
It's time for Magic Minute. This is the time it takes us to go up 13 floors in the elevator, the lift of life, and discover something about this week's subject, which is number 8, het in the Hebraic language, CHET. And that word means fence. But our theme is going to be marriage. We've got a minute on the clock. Eury's got her pen ready as we brainstorm everything we think about when it comes to marriage. And the lift doors are closing now.
So marriage for me means connection.
It means to me partnership.
I think it means unity.
Uh-huh.
I've had that quite a lot, actually.
We have, haven't we? Could you put union there as well?
Yes.
Yeah. It means commitment. Like a promise. It means, a love.
Yeah.
A deep love.
Okay.
I think of togetherness. Probably comes under connection and partnership, but there's where something used to be separate now.
Yeah.
It's together. Ooh, wow. God, that's so quick.
Yeah, really is quick.
And it countdown, that quiz show, it's only 30 seconds. God, we had a whole minute. So we're going to turn to Rogette's thesaurus, and I've written down 2 sets, one for fence and one for marriage.
Okay.
So let's see what we can get from both of those in the next minute. And the lift doors are closing now. So we have enclosure. We have dyke.
D-Y-K-E, yeah?
Yes, we do. We have refuge, which kind of makes me think one would be a refugee. Ark. We have cohabitation. Give one's hand to. And that's interesting because one's hand is the creative power. Betroth, B-E-T-R-O-T-H, which actually means be truth. And join, couple, like you might couple a train put together. How many spikes left?
2.
We've got 2 spikes left, so safety, hiding place. Anything stand out for you?
Well, the hiding place definitely stands out because
it comes on the fence rather than marriage.
Yeah, but still, I don't understand how a fence is a hiding place. I guess you hide behind it, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I think dyke as well, actually. It's quite unusual.
You think of a fence as going up and you think of a dyke as like a ditch that is dug. So you don't think of that as a fence. But perhaps it's more to do with this word defence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a moat is a kind of dyke, isn't it? A moat around a castle.
And I suppose in a sense marriage is a defence against being single. Doing things all on your own. It's a defence about, yeah.
It's hard for me to think of marriage as defending.
Yeah.
Because it makes me think of attack. And it's
maybe,
more like it's a refuge.
Maybe you defend each other.
Yeah.
You know, you look after each other.
Well, let's see what we come up with in the next 10 minutes in terms of how this all relates to this beautiful step.
Yeah.
On the Fibonacci sequence. But before we do the 10 minutes, just have a quick recap of where we are in this overall story.
Yeah.
Because really it is a story that's unfolding.
Yeah.
And hopefully you, the listener, have your idea is coming along with us on each of these steps. And this is definitely probably the most powerful step, really.
Yeah.
So we started with an idea, 0, 1. We keep returning to this. You start with the idea at 0, 1. It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's coming as an idea to you to help you out of pain, want, lack, loss. And it's coming to you to say, I've got some of this. Would you like some? And you say, hopefully, yes. Yes, please. Because it's a gift, you don't earn it, you don't deserve it. It's not due you. It's not something that's owed. It's completely by grace. If you like the idea, you're going to feed it. You're going to sustain it with your attention. It starts to gather substance. And can it fit into your house, number 2? Is it something that you can easily accommodate? Or are you going to have to go on a bit of a journey, that number 3? Take your camel, go into imagination, and find a place where you already have it. That's number 5. You enter through the window, through the eye of the soul, the eye of the needle. This is the camel going through the eye of the needle. Can the camel fit through the eye of the needle? Yes. You're going to go into a journey into imagination and find the place where you already have that thing, where you already are that person you want to be. And you're going to engage with it. Now, this engagement is the preparation for what we're talking about this week. The engagement is the kiss, the touch. At number 5, there was a moment in that imagining, that acting out this scene from your dream where you made contact, where you touched something in your dream to prove you were actually there. And by touching it in your imagination, like Robin did with his ball, it proves somewhere on the timeline, on the physical level, that you've already been there. So that the physical has to mould itself in order for you to have that experience that you've already experienced in imagination. What we're doing at number 8 is taking it to another level. You're engaged. Now you're going to get married.
Yeah.
So let's click that 10 minutes and start talking about this number 8 in detail.
So Jenny, what can you tell us about marriage and how we use that in our imagination? What are we doing here?
When we were running the Bunny Rabbit Solution seminar, I'd often talk about that trip to the beach that you mentioned right at the beginning of this podcast, where a young girl is imagining herself at the beach, and she's imagining the sounds that she would hear, the taste she would taste, the feelings she would have on her feet, the sun on her skin, and so on. And then she imagines it to such an extent that she gets carried away by the idea, to the extent that she forgets that she's actually in her bedroom.
Yeah.
And that's where we are at number 8. This being carried away, which I've mentioned before, is comparable to the story of Zeus carrying away a woman for himself. There's also another word, which is flight, that we could add to our spikes.
Okay.
Because that getting carried away is like your mind is taking flight from where you are to where you really want to be. Now that you're there, you're so engaged with it, you have lost all the link with your previous self.
Yeah. So
there's very much in this idea of number 8, this fence, that you're in a new boundary, you've crossed over to somewhere new.
So you've crossed the threshold.
You've already crossed the threshold when you went into number 5.
Yeah.
It's like a deepening of number 5 to the point of forgetting completely. But the idea, remember, of marriage is that you've taken a new name.
Yeah.
That therefore you're taking a new character. Therefore you're having a new internal conversation with yourself about who you say you are and what you say you have. You're not really marrying outside of yourself, because all of this is happening internally. You are your own husband, you are your own wife. But the role that you're going to be playing when this all manifests on the physical world is the wife, because it's the wife who is seen as the receptive part of you, and it's the woman that is going to make the form. It's the woman that produces the forms in the world, the babies. So in that sense, everybody is playing the role of the wife, and the husband is the initiating part of you who wanted the thing in the first place, or saw that there was a lack, there was a loss, there was an orphan, there was a widow in you who was experiencing things not as they ought to be, but as things seem to be. So your husband is you still, your wife is you still, But this marriage is saying, I am no longer separate from the things that I wanted. We are now together. We are now one. So the fence is saying, I'm protecting you from this old life. You no longer are in want, because behind that fence is the storehouse. It's like there's everything there.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's a land of abundance. Therefore, there's nothing that you could possibly lack. And because it has everything, you can't lose anything. So you're in the realm of, I've got it all. As we said in last week's episode, there's no earthly force that has the slightest significance when it comes to your power.
Yeah.
So once you're behind that fence, not only are you protected from what used to be, you're beyond the engagement, you're in the marriage of it, the two have become one. You're so protected that you've just completely forgotten. You're in such a new world now. Like when we saw Teresa and Tony yesterday.
Yeah.
They were completely different. He was calling her his wife now. No longer just partner, lover, girlfriend.
Yeah, and she was clapping and saying, husband, husband. Yeah, it was really lovely.
Beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
It's a mood, and this marriage we're talking about is a connection between the feminine and the masculine. Neville encourages us to be overwhelmed by this brilliant mood that we've got of having been married to this thing that we once wanted.
Yes.
To live from it. So,
yes.
you know, when you're married, you've got a new home, you've got a new abode, you know,
yes.
And you're living from that abode. So you've got to do that in your imagination.
Obviously, everything here is being done in the imagination. Actually, only number 13 is where the physical manifestation happens.
Yeah.
And in terms of mood, we're going to cover a lot of that in next week's episode, which is the second hidden number, which is number 6.
Brilliant.
Stop the podcast. It's time for a Neville Nugget.
Can I have number 3, please, Jenny?
Okay. Disaster beyond redemption is impossible.
Disaster beyond redemption is impossible. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so there's nothing that's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So you don't worry about anything that seems to be going wrong. You can change it. Walk the path.
Yeah.
On with the podcast.
On with the podcast, Jenny.
Number 8 in many philosophies, in many cultures, is the number of renewal.
Yeah.
It represents the snake. And the snake is the creature that can lose its old skin and make a new skin. And that's what we're doing when we get to number 8. We completely discarded the old skin at number 4. And we've got a fresh new skin, a fresh new set of clothes, as we were talking about in last week's episode. So we're really into a new place. And the hiding place aspect of it is probably, again, about shielding you from what used to be.
Yeah.
And there's a hiding place as well, because also with number 7, which is where the pregnancy happens, it's a kind of, everything's still been done in secret before it's going to be displayed in the world when we get to number 13. And there's a film called Nanny, McPhee, which hopefully you've all heard of and have watched. It's one of those films that you don't realise is telling you these amazing stories.
Yeah.
Because in the first Nanny McPhee film, there is a character who is the servant of a household of the kids and a husband. And the husband's wife has died, so he's a widower. And by the end of the film, they get married. Now, this comes to a story in the Bible which you find in Hosea chapter 2, verse 16, where it says that I'm going to stop being the master and lord of you, and I'm going to become your husband. What this is saying is, no longer I'm just going to be in charge of you, and you don't know what I'm doing, because a servant, a slave, doesn't know what the master's doing. Now we're going to become partners. You know what I'm doing now. You know that I'm creating this reality with you.
Yeah.
And we all want that, don't we? We want to move from this relationship with ourselves where we don't really know how life is happening, how it's working, to we get to a point where, oh, I'm actually creating my life.
Yes.
Actually know how life works. which is obviously the point of the podcast, to move from that, oh, life is just happening to me, to a point where life is happening through me and I'm participating and making things happen.
I like that. Life is happening through me, not to me.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got the masculine and the feminine here. And we've also got the yin-yang of the Oriental perceptions. And so these very much work together. So we've got things like black and white, dark and light. So you need these to work together in union. So that comes back to our mind map. So in order to create what you want, you also have to be in a receptive state. You have to be willing to allow this to come to pass.
It's like the two halves need to make a whole.
Yes.
So every end of each spectrum is working to create something together.
Yes.
In that middle point. So whether you're looking for this new job, this new house, this new relationship, better finances, health and so on, the whole point of what's happening at 8 is that whatever used to be going on for you has completely vanished now. So you've taken on this new name, therefore you've taken on a new character. So you do have the new job. There's nothing that's convincing you in this moment that you aren't in the new job. There's nothing convincing you in this moment that you don't have the finances you need. You're completely at one with this. It feels natural. It feels like complete harmony. It feels like, well, we're going to move on to the bliss with number 6, but it feels like this is it. I have it. There's nothing can interfere with this now. Yeah.
You're betrothed, aren't you, to it? That's it.
It's truth. Yeah, betrothed is truth. You've found the truth of it.
Yeah.
It's yours. There's nothing can interfere with this.
Yeah.
And that fence, again, is the guarantee, the protection against any kind of interference from earthly forces. So we'll see at number 7, you can interfere with your own success.
Yes.
But nothing outside of you can interfere at this point. Also, just a reminder, you need to get married before you get divorced. You needed to have stepped into number 5 and engaged before the old can go.
Yes.
Don't wait for the old to go. Start with getting into your new marriage.
Yes.
Get your new husband before you chuck the old one out.
It feels counterintuitive to do that.
Yes.
But actually, what we're learning to do here is introduce new practices and practices that are always working. So just allow yourself to go with it.
Yeah, we're going to, in the last episode, talk more about the techniques and give some tips on what to actually do, the actual practices. Because now we're talking about it and we want to be able to encourage you to not talk about it, but to act it out within your imagination.
Yeah.
Especially the techniques that Neville teaches, but also the successes that we've had and what practices we've used to bring about the fruition. But a lot of what we talk about is in the book. It's in the Bunny Rabbit Solution book, which can be found on our Padlet page.
Fantastic.
So click that link in the description. There's also links to Roger's animation channel, his Tumblr page. There's also links to the first episode, which gives you the overview. There's also links to Fibonacci Sequence and what the rabbits do. Maybe even go back to the bonus bunny episode where we talked about how this pattern works. But I think if you've been following these last 8-9 episodes, then I think you're getting the shape. You're getting the shape of where you are, what you need to do next. But this number 8 is all about you have been committed. You are now committed to this birth that's about to happen. But committed in a good way, not like a prison. All the best with that.
Yeah, all the best.
It's time to get back in the lift. Let's get a minute on the clock and we're going to do a touch exercise. Because it's marriage, we should be thinking about a new partner.
I think Neville talks about, I was reading this morning about putting the ring on, because this, in Western culture at least, this is an absolute symbol and feeling of being married, because you can fall in love, you can, have romance, you can have intimacy, all of that, but that doesn't signify marriage.
But maybe we want to, rather than, because not everybody wants to get married, but everybody who wants to have somebody special in their life, we can do a touch exercise with what that might feel like for somebody to be with the person that they want to be with.
Okay.
That minute on the clock and the lift doors are closing now. We begin by closing our eyes. You're with somebody. Somebody who gives you butterflies. Somebody who you give butterflies to. You're close. You can feel them. Maybe shoulder to shoulder. You reach out and your hands touch. This makes you feel amazing. Perhaps you're walking down a street. Perhaps you're giggling. Feel their hand in your hand. Squeeze. Not too tight. Just to let them know how you feel about them. Feel them squeeze your hand back. To let you know how they feel about you. And open your eyes.
Oh, that was really nice.
Yeah. That's called in some of these circles, that law of attraction, that's special, attracting your special person. And just a reminder that you can't force people to fall in love with you.
No.
You may think it's going to be that person, it's going to be that person, it's going to be that person. But unless you approach again with Yakin and Boaz, with confidence and love, then there's a type of force involved. And that force interferes by making it maybe a temporary thing, which is going to be frustrating for everybody involved. There is a story that Neville tells about somebody who really wanted this person and this person only.
Yeah.
But his approach is always, you don't necessarily know who it's going to be, but if you approach the whole exercise with love, then the universe is going to find you the exact person to match that feeling, where it's mutual.
Yeah.
That's it for this week, isn't it?
Goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it's so nice as well what we've been talking about today, especially because we were at this lovely wedding yesterday. So next week we'll be talking about number 6, which is the hidden number of the nail, which is a strange word to think of in all of this after you've had marriage. It's all about bliss.
And it's not the nail on your finger. It's a nail as in nail and hammer.
Yeah, exactly why you might think it's a bit weird to have a nail and to do with a hammer after you've had a beautiful marriage.
Yeah.
But you'll see next week why it's so important to have that nail.
Yes,
to fix things in place. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for waiting to the very end of the podcast for your very own Akan Easter egg saying some Ghanaian wisdom. I think it's my turn to choose, isn't it? Okay, I'll choose it and you read it.
Okay. If you do not let your friend cross and reach their destination, you will also not cross and reach yours.
Yeah, that's a bit like the golden rule, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got to do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
And don't interfere with people crossing. I've had that feeling for a while now, just like, well, I wouldn't want that to happen to me, so I better not do it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes along with you reap what you sow as well.
Yep, it's in there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.